And welcome back, everyone, to the NFL Today. Today's hot topic exclusively for CBSSports.com, looking at last year's playoff teams. Who's in trouble already this season and who's not? Let me turn to the guys and ask.
Well, when I think of the AFC, if you're 0-2, it's going to be tough to make the playoffs because it's a tough division. And in the NFC, you can make it at 0-2. It's not as tough. But I'm looking at the Jets. Look at the Jets and what they're doing with their quarterback, Chad Pennington, being hurt. There may be a controversy at some time there. And also, they're not getting any sacks, no turnovers defensively. They're giving up 58 points in the first 2 games. So they're struggling on defense and they have problems with the quarterback. So I think they're going to be in a team that's going to be in trouble getting into playoffs.
Well, Dan, I look at the situation with New Orleans and you look at Philadelphia. And if you're an NFC, you're not in trouble at all because you're going to have any chance to get back in the playoffs. So you're going to be fine. But I still look at Philadelphia. I think they have a chance to get back on track today, playing against Detroit. And I still think New Orleans, their first 2 games on the road, I think they'll be fine to come back and get Tennessee. 1 and 2, you're still in the mix. So I think both those teams still have a chance to be back in the playoffs.
Well, I'm looking at the team, the Kansas City Chiefs, because, as you mentioned, Dan, the quarterback situation, they have not settled. They don't know if they want to go with Damon Huard, the veteran, or Brody Kroll, who have shown really nothing in the preseason. And they're just not explosive enough on offense. They have no outside weapons. Larry Johnson held out of training camp. He has not been able to get on track right now. And so right now, for my money, I'm looking at the Kansas City Chiefs.
The team that I look at, and Bill just talked about the NFC, and so did Danny, but, how are the Giants going to get back to the playoffs? I don't see it. I mean, their defense has given up 80 points in the first 2 games. And right there, that is like a red flag to every coach in the NFL. If you can't get off the field on 3rd down, you can't stop the opposing team's passer, you can't stop their big running backs or their tight ends, you know what? That's going to continue the rest of the year, and I think this team is heading south, even though Eli Manning is definitely a reason to watch them play.
From the playoffs last year, who do you think is headed back again this year? Anywhere?
New England.
A team that was not in the playoffs, but I'll say is Pittsburgh right now. And I'll tell you, Pittsburgh's a team that by the bye.
You're going to say that.
No. I said nothing for 2 weeks, but by the bye, this team, when you look at their record, could be 5-0.
You waited for 2 weeks to say something.
A prolific scoring Saints team. What's the deal with the Saints?
You know what? I think their defense is the biggest question mark.
Yes.
They're much like the Giants because, they don't have cover corners. And they're asking their corners to do things that they're not very good at, play man coverage. I think that they have to shore up their defense, and if they do that and they give their offense some better field position than they have, their offense will turn it around. I'm not worried about this. This is one team, I think, along with Bill, that their offense can turn it on and take the pressure off their defense.
The offense definitely hasn't been getting any turnovers or any sacks on defense, and that's a problem. You got to get to the quarterback.
2 road losses, though. 2 road losses.
2 road losses. And New Orleans, a team, like you talked about, they got 2 good rush ends. But you know what? You got to get a lead to be able to rush the quarterback. Right. And their offense is not going on track. Right. But if they do, and when they do, I think, not if, but when they do, their defense will pick it up.
Not this week.
These guys not this week. These guys are playoff ready. Be sure to catch us at noon Eastern every Sunday right here on the NFL Today.